I can remember a moment a few days before it happened. I'd just been round the corner to buy some milk, and as I got back to the house, Charlie was there sat on the doorstep. There was nothing unusual in that. He always sat there when he wanted to think, always on the doorstep. Never any further than that. As I reached the door, I realised that Charlie looked a bit different. He had a look of concern on his face, and he was clutching his mug of tea like someone wanted to snatch it from him at any moment. So I sat on the step with him. I talked to him about how I'd been reading a book called The Dubliners, and how it had been making me remember things from years ago, like the feeling of walking home from school as a kid with Charlie. It used to take ages, but I used to love it, the feeling of the end of a journey. Charlie said that his favourite feeling was the moment before you fall asleep, and there's no worries and no fears, you just drift off to sleep. As soon as he had finished his tea, he stood up and announced that it was time to go back to sleep, and disappeared through the front door and away up to his room. I honestly don't remember how it started. The sleeping, I mean. I'm sure one of us must have suggested it, but I'm not sure if it was me or if it was Charlie. In hindsight, it was probably Charlie. At least that was what I tell myself now, when I try to make sense of everything. It started out of laziness, really. That and trying to prove each other just how long we could manage to sleep for a time. Then it started to get out of hand. Charlie started to sleep for really stupid lengths of time, and I just suppose edged me to try and beat him. Eventually Charlie unplugged the phone because we'd keep getting calls when we were sleeping, and he hated being woken up. We started to get more cut off from what was going on outside. The day he unplugged the phone, Charlie asked me a question. Whenever I think about it now, it really frightens me. He asked me if I got scared. I told him of course I did. I said that people can hurt you, a lot. Then I told him that I didn't get scared when he was around. I guess we trusted each other a lot. That was a weird moment. I tried to defuse the situation by pointing out how funny I found the way Charlie always used to hold his cereal spoon. The day before it happened, I was getting really freaked out. The night before we had been the longest we had ever been asleep. I had a terrible dream where Charlie wouldn't wake up. He just kept sleeping. I couldn't wake him up. I told him about it while we were drinking our hot chocolates. I told him the whole thing, and I asked him if he really knew why we were doing it to ourselves. Charlie turned it back on me, saying that I had said it myself. People are scary, people hurt you. I asked him then why he never went further than the doorstep of the house. He didn't answer. He just had this look on his face as if all his memories and fear and hurt had all rushed to the surface, refusing to stay pushed down and hidden anymore. Didn't ask him any more questions after that. I just told him what a good friend he was to me. Right then Charlie asked me if I would walk with him the next day, if I would walk outside with him. That moment I'd not seen him so happy and content for years, like all his fears had vanished. Charlie never did wake up the next morning. I phoned the ambulance when I couldn't wake him, but they couldn't wake him either. My best friend Charlie never woke up again. I went for a walk in the morning. Everything was so bright outside. As I walked, I remembered Charlie's favourite feeling. The moment just before you fall asleep, where there are no worries, no fears, and then you drift off to sleep.